Back of the Sun this morning is saying this. News at 10. Ten Hag has a massive task convincing Cristiano Ronaldo that he can match his ambitions. So far this summer, they haven't actually signed anyone. Obviously linked with a lot of players, nothing through across the line at the moment. Heavily linked with Ajax winger Antony and Barcelona midfielder Frankie de Jong, but nothing happening at the moment. So, day one of Erik Ten Hag's new regime. What do you think? I mean, as former players yourself, when you've had new bosses come in, what is day one all about for a new boss?
Well, as a boss, I guess it's just figuring out the players, finding out the mentality of the squad, seeing where the confidence is, looking to see what you've got and where he thinks he's going to need to improve. But he would have done all this homework anyway in the off-season, so we'll go in there with the right idea. But now when you go in first day, you'll see the players, what they're like in training, who's up for it, who you can rely on, who's fit, who needs work. So, I mean, it's the perfect scenario, really, for Manchester United because they need a rebuild. They needed someone to come in with fresh, new ideas and pick this squad up because it's been... it's been a disgrace, really, in terms of the quality of players they've got and the performances that they've put in. So, yeah, this is the start of a new beginning for Man U.
Do you just call me a former player?
No, I said current player.
Former players like yourselves.
Did I say that?
So you did say that.
So you
anyway,
so you put 3 years. So you put 3 years on him, and now you're calling him a former player.
I did. I swear.
While he sat there with an ACL injury.
I swear at the beginning, I said I even emphasised current player, and then I went to former players like yourself. Sorry, I meant as in like last season.
yeah, I know what you meant. It's fine. I think day one is all about trying to get your ideas across. Obviously, you're going to do your fitness side on day one, but I'm sure the manager will have half an hour to an hour. Going through the way he wants to play, the build-up play, maybe a little possession to try and get the boys used to handling the ball again, maybe even a meeting to show how his teams have played in the past. And that's, from my experience, new managers, that's what they sort of look to from day one, trying to get their message across. So by the time it comes to the middle of August and we're back in the Premier League, they leave no stone unturned and everyone knows how the manager wants to play.
We always wind you up and say you were the teacher's pet. I think you're actually self-proclaimed teacher's pet.
You said was again, but it's fine.
You're not. Are you still a teacher's pet then?
I don't know. You have to ask my teammates.
I will. Do you know what?
I'm sure you will as well.
I will find a way of finding this out. Do you notice, like, I mean, you're probably like front of the queue, but do you notice a real change in attitudes of players as well?
Of course.
What does it look like?
What, it just come Go on, Andros.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Honestly, like everyone's bang up for it. Everyone's front of the queue, like you said, sitting at the front of the meetings. When you're doing the fitness, players that were at the back a week ago, all of a sudden at the front.
Yeah.
It's the most unbearable period of season when a new manager comes in. You see players start to change the way they act.
You look at players and you go, well, hold on a minute, where were you 3 months ago when we were struggling and we was absolutely, needing someone to step up to the plate, and now all of a sudden new gaffer comes in and you're all over it.
Was that you?
That was normally me.
And how much does it vary from manager to manager, but do you have one-on-ones? Does the manager take you away and kind of go, let's have a chat?
Yeah, some managers do. I mean, some managers are very kind of standoffish, and, they will kind of just treat you as part of a squad. But then there'll be other managers who'll put their arm around you, get you in. Like Harry Redknapp, when I remember Harry first come in, I was a young lad. I was just got into the side at Tottenham, and my contract wasn't. I was on still an academy contract almost, and I was playing for the first team. And I remember Harry Redknapp come in, put his arm around me, and was like, Jamie, gonna get you sorted, do well for me, and I'll make sure we look after you, and you're gonna be great for me and all that. And that was kind of like a big boost for me to get in. Just little tiny things, little things like that can just get a player on side, get them on board, and go, right, I'm going to work hard for this gaffer. And he delivered on what he said.
I found in my experience that the younger, more modern manager, they like to pull players for the chat 1v1, find out not just about football, about their life, how they're doing. And I think it's your sort of old school manager, which is more standoffish, it's more about the squad as opposed to finding out about the individual on a personal level.
How long does that honeymoon period typically last?
When you start seeing some really bad sessions,
Really?
Because,
So-
it's all about
You get
sessions.
sussed out very quickly.
You get sussed out, yeah. Players are ruthless, right? Because they've been around, they've had tons of coaches, tons of sessions. They've seen every session under the book. So if a new manager comes in and thinks he's going to do something different, I guarantee you these players have seen it. So it's all about getting them on side, coming in with ideas that they're going to be like, okay, I like this, I like where your head's at, and making sure that the training is filled with sort of fun, entertainment, they're engaged with it, because if you can lose a dressing room really quickly.
Yeah.
Well, someone that did lose, I don't know if he lost the dressing room, but he lost his job after, 4 games? Frank de Boer. You were there at Palace, weren't you, when that happened? So he must not have even had any, he must have been in there, you guys were all front of the queue being all like that, and then after 4 weeks, he's out. What happened there?
I think with Frank, great guy, I loved him, but I think when he came to the Premier League, it's obviously his first experience. He'd been used to Ajax, and it's a different way of playing. I think he came with a new idea. He wanted to change the formation to 3-5-2, I think it was, at a time when nobody was playing that, and he hadn't experienced it before as well. So I think he was sort of learning on the job a bit. He was learning how to play the 3-5-2 while pre-season was going on. And I think in the Premier League, Jamie will tell you, in the Premier League, you can't do that. You need to know your system, you need to know your philosophy, the way you want to play, or very quickly players suss you out. And unfortunately, I think that's what happened with Frank. The players that he sort of didn't want to work with, weren't in his plans, sussed him out, weren't happy, and 4 games into the season, his job was gone.
So it's more like the players got him out than anything.
Putting words into my mouth, but
It sort of sounded like that's what you said. But you can correct me if I'm wrong.
I can't hear you over my ice machine. Sorry, say that again.
Were you guys as players, were you as shocked when he went after 4 games, or did you get any kind of not notice, but did you get an inkling that this might be coming?
I think there were senior players who were obviously consulted. They weren't shocked. They saw it coming. But for myself, I had absolutely no idea. No matter how bad to the start to the season you have, you never expect your manager to be gone in 4 games. So yeah, naturally I was devastated. As players, you feel like you let the manager down. Obviously I spoke to him afterwards and told him how sorry I was, and felt like us as players, we let him down. But yeah, I didn't see it coming at all.
Yeah. Would you have liked to play for Patrick Vieira? Like, is that and when you see like what Crystal Palace are doing at the moment and what he's doing with the youngsters in the team as well, what do you think of it?
It's amazing what he's doing. I must say I didn't see that coming, but I think they wanted to go in a different direction. Like you said, they wanted to bring through youngsters, some incredible youngsters there. Eze, Elise, who they brought in, he was just frightening. So I think they wanted to go in a different direction. And although I'm young in my head, I'm fit, I'm probably one of the fittest in the squad, they just wanted young blood. And fair play what they did this season. We played them 3 times, and twice they absolutely turned us over. So yeah, no, it's amazing to watch Palace this season, sit back and see how far they've come.
I've sort of taken you down a different path. I'll bring you back to Manchester United because there's a couple of news stories. Sorry. It's just interesting, isn't it? This is why we love having you on the show. Lots of love for you as well this morning. I've just got to quickly read a message before I forget about it. Alex, who's an Everton fan, says, goosebumps listening to Andros Townsend about the fans and the way that we stayed up. Speedy recovery, hopefully see you on the pitch soon. That's from Alex. There's another one which is really long. I'll try and sub it down a little bit. Says, good morning to all of us. Absolutely delighted that Andros is back on the show. Not only is he amongst the warmest, open and eloquent speaker on here, I sincerely feel he is one of the most underrated players in the English game. I feel blessed that he plays for our beloved side. Look forward to his return as well. Good luck in your rehabilitation. Nice, isn't it?
Appreciate that. Thank
See,
you.
people are lovely. Just looking, nothing for Jamie. Weirdly. Let's go back to Manchester United because, sorry, Jamie.
It's all good. I know they love me.
They do, of course they do. If you are Eric Ten Hag and you've got this mammoth job, let's not underestimate what he's got to do. It's a mammoth job, really, isn't it? How do you deal with the situation with Ronaldo? Keeping him there for a start, and then how do you set your team up?
Well, for me, you set a team up that's around him. I mean, he's still fit. He will guarantee you goals. He's still one of the best finishers in the Premier League. So you have to understand that he's not going to set the standard in terms of pressing and going after teams, but he's a massive player that you want in your side. He leads by example. He's still one of the best players in the world. So I think you got to use him and use him the right way.
18 Premier League goals at the age of 37 is just it's unheard of. You talk about your Messis and your Lewandowskis not wanting to come to the Premier League, or not having never come to the Premier League in their careers. And Ronaldo didn't shy away from it, came back to United, all the pressure that came with that.
Yeah.
18 Premier League goals, it was unbelievable. And
I'd make him captain. Would you?
Yeah, listen, you guys speak about Harry Maguire a lot. I've played against Harry Maguire. He's a great captain. He's a great player. Doesn't get the recognition he deserves. Get a lot of stick. I think he's the perfect captain. I don't think the manager should change that.
Really?
What makes him a perfect captain?
He's vocal. He obviously can see everything from where he is. He's always speaking to the back four and those ahead of him. I think he leads by example. I think he's not afraid to get on the ball. He's not afraid to play. And I think you need that in a centre half. I know Jamie's got his head in his hands. I don't know if he disagrees or he's tired or he's bored.
I just think he needs to take the pressure off him. I think he's always under scrutiny because being the captain of Manchester United is a huge role. And I feel like his performances were poor last season. And he's constantly having to come out and do interviews. You're constantly seeing him. And I think if you take that away, he can just concentrate on his football. Let his football do the talking, where he hasn't got to come out and do interviews all the time because you're the captain. And let someone who, in my opinion, is the biggest player in the dressing room, the biggest leader in the dressing room. And if he spoke, you are absolutely going to listen to him. And that's Cristiano Ronaldo. Whether he's playing well or not, or whether he even starts, Ronaldo is the person that you're going to listen to when he opens his mouth. I don't know if players like Rafael Varane, Jadon Sancho, Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, I don't know if they're going to stand up and listen if Harry Maguire's doing a team talk. How much of that are they taking on board?
But is that a problem with Harry Maguire, or is that a problem with the other individuals you spoke about?
I think it's the problem with Harry Maguire, because I just don't think he's been good enough to warrant having a say. Because the first thing I would say is, if he's trying to dig someone out or, try and say something in a dressing room, step up and say, look, lads, this is not good enough, we need to do it, as a captain does. First thing I would instantly say, I'd be like, well, what about yourself, mate? Yeah,
I think he's been made a bit of a scapegoat. Pogba as well, players like that, they've been made to look a scapegoat because of their price tag, and unfortunately that's football. But I think Harry Maguire, there's a reason he plays for England and for Manchester United every week. It's because he's a good top defender. And I think stripping him of the captaincy, where does that leave him? Where does that leave his confidence? You talk about relieving the pressure, but how would you feel if you was the captain for 1 or 2 years and all of a sudden you get stripped of it? Are you going to have more confidence or less confidence?
I get it, Andrews. I know exactly what you're saying, but I think you don't say, right, we're stripping you of the captaincy because you're not been good enough. Eric Ten Hag comes in and says, look, we're going to make a change, we're going to freshen it up, and I want to take the pressure off you because you're still a massive part of the team, and I feel like the pressure that you've had on your shoulders is hard to deal with.
How would you feel if that happened to you? If Ten Hag says that to you tomorrow, how would you feel?
No, it would hurt, but then I would understand what he's trying to get at. If he's turning around to me saying, look, I don't fancy you, you're not going to play, I want you out, I'm taking the captaincy off you, that's different. You go, cheers. But if he's saying to him, look, I want to take it off you to relieve a bit of pressure, Ronaldo's the most experienced player in the team, people listen to him when he talks, and I think that's the best option for us going forward. But you're going to be my number one starter, you're my centre half, and I want you to be in part of the squad. That's what I would do.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.